Be advised that the views and opinions of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
Hello, my name is Harry Tambuatco. I'm not Larry Bruhard, but I'm sitting in for Larry. Our topic for this program is exactly what the title says, social responsibility. But what exactly does that mean? Now, we have recent examples of disasters and man-made as well, not just by Mother Earth. We saw the war in Zamboanga. We had the earthquake one after the other, as if in a series. And of course, the devastation that Yolanda has brought about in Eastern Visayas. But there are many issues other than just relief. This is called, for example, displacement. What happens to the people, for example, in the war-torn zones? So they are moved away, just like those in the devastated areas of the earthquake and the typhoon, into rehabilitation centers, or not even where they call the temporary shelters where they can stay. But what exactly do these people have as far as rights are concerned? Do they sit there and do they beg their mayors, their governors, their president? And do they even have rights? The answer of that, definitely yes. It should be a very outstanding yes. But have we given them their rights? Is it in the Constitution? Is it a Republic Act? Is there a procedure that we can now follow? Now, sometime 2 decades ago, a non-government organization was born, but this was towards the tail end and answering towards what we call the political prisoners of martial law. They were born and they created themselves, and they have made themselves relevant, not realizing that the relevance extends over the decades coming to today. As recent as the experiences we've seen with the typhoon, the earthquake, and the war, we have more people that have been displaced. Now, let me get this right. Tonight, we're going to do a primer on internal displacement. That's what our topic is, internal displacement. With us to discuss the issue, we have Mrs. Rebecca E. Lozada, the National Coordinator of the Philippine Coalition for the International Criminal Court. That's PCICC. And we also have Analisa T. Ugay, who's the Balay Rehabilitation Center. Ladies, maraming salamat for being here. Timely nga ang dating nyo kasi sa mga nangyayari sa Yolanda, sa Zamboanga, sa Bohol, exactly. Maybe we should start first. This NGO, anong pangalan ng NGO natin?
My NGO is Balay Rehabilitation Center.
That's the Balay.
That's the Balay. And our work really is specifically psychosocial rehabilitation.
Psychosocial. So, psychology, utak, inaayos natin.
Yes.
Kanyari, political prisoners, as I said, that's where you started out.
Yeah.
So, before they can go back into society, you process them para hindi naman, they don't turn criminal.
Yes.
Diba, paglabas doon, syempre, maybe they've, like you said, undergone torture or whatnot. Yes. They have to be processed so they can go back into society as a normal person and contributory.
Yeah.
So it's Balay, the Balay Rehabilitation. Okay. Now we have, which brings us to the issue, a bill has been filed at the last session of the 13th Congress. Unfortunately, this was vetoed, and the 4 points as to why the President vetoes this will be explained to us. Now, this bill basically is called the Protecting the Rights of Internally Displaced Persons, providing penalties for violations thereof and other purposes. Now, this bill, as I hold here with me, has not yet been, it has been filed, but it has been vetoed, and now all the more because of the relevance and what we've seen, it's becoming more pertinent.
Yeah.
Now, if only this bill was already into law, yung mga nakikita natin nakaawa-awa sa Katacloban, sa Visayas, tsaka yung mga umaalis doon, nasasawi, pupunta ng Maynila, nakikita natin dito sa Villamor. may rights pala yung mga tao na yan. Maybe we can start with explanation, Miss Rebecca and Miss Analisa. Gawin natin informal para maintindihan ng
yes.
natin viewers. Ano ba definition ng internally displaced?
Well, internally displaced is if you are forced to leave
Forced.
your homes
Oo.
for
Nagkagera.
several reasons. Yes, it
Gera.
could be
Mababaril ka.
yeah, because of man-made or natural
So,
disasters.
earthquake, halo ang ilalim, butas, you can't stay in your house anymore even though you own the property. Even though lola mo doon na nakatira,
Yes.
you have to relocate.
Yes.
Bumagyo, ang lakas ng dating. You are displaced. Pag internally displaced, is it temporal or is it permanent? Or both?
It is really temporary.
It's temporary.
Yeah, once you stay in a place permanently, so you're no longer an IDPs.
Yeah.
But what happens to the people in Bohol? Nakahanap sila ng butas sa ilalim ng lupa nila, di ba? What do you call
Then
those holes?
they have to,
To resettle.
leave, right? They have to resettle.
They have to resettle.
Yeah.
If they are displaced,
Ayun,
and
resettlement yun.
Because there, in displacement, there are 4 phases. First is prior to displacement.
Prior to displacement.
Then the second is during displacement,
Actual.
the actual, and then the third one is the humanitarian assistance where they are being given in evacuation centers. And the fourth one is the return.
Balik sila.
Yes, if they can return, they resettle. If they cannot longer return, and reintegration. Reintegration means you reintegrate into
Back.
the community where you are evacuating. So you reintegrate. You stay there.
There is no such thing as permanent yon.
No,
There's no such thing.
permanent.
So it's all temporary.
Temporary.
But
Okay.
but may I
Well, go
help?
ahead, go ahead.
Because my special interest in this
Yes.
is forcible displacement or transfer in connection to war.
Okay.
Because my organization is supporting the International Criminal Court.
Yes.
And there
Ano ibig
is-
sabihin yan? International Criminal Court.
It's
Yun na nga eh.
yeah, it's a
Philippine
court.
Coalition.
Yeah,
ano?
it's a court in The Hague, the Netherlands,
Yes,
created
yes.
through a meeting of diplomats.
Right,
In
right.
1998, they created a treaty, and we have
That's
signed on.
where Miriam is supposed to go as a
Yes.
judge. Supposed
So,
to be na
yeah,
hindi
the
lang natin
jurisdiction
delay.
is war crimes, crimes
War
against
crime,
humanity,
crimes against humanity.
genocide, and a crime of aggression later.
Crime
And
of aggression.
So one forced displacement
Yes,
could be a war crime or a crime against humanity.
Crime against humanity.
So I was just saying that there are some discussions about, you can resettle someone. They can move back to their homes. But sometimes there are like cultural notions of how you were displaced. Even
Okay.
if, for example, if you are an indigenous person, you have to move out because of, let's say, mining or
Yeah,
development
mining,
aggression,
pwede.
or because your whole village was bombed and you have to move out, you can resettle. But culturally, you are not really settled.
Yes.
It's
So
still the
there's
same
still
culture.
some
Your
notion,
heritage is the same.
Yeah, because they have sacred ground. So for them, even if they have resettled in an area and they will no longer return to their village, they would consider themselves displaced. So there are
That's
some
still
notions,
displaced.
no? Yeah, there's notions
In that
like
case, does it become permanent? Hindi pa rin.
Hindi pa rin. I'm just saying that that's a factor that's actually not even usually discussed
Yeah.
because, our concepts of refugees or internally displaced, usually we only look at the majority.
How many people are we talking about? Like you say, since it's not permanent, the numbers can change every year
Yes,
depending when there is or no disaster.
Yeah.
During
Disasters
peacetime,
or armed conflict.
and then hindi pinayagan ng mining for one reason or another, they can go back.
Yeah.
Without having to go to another location because, like you said, resettling is not necessarily permanent because sometimes culture, religion, heritage, whatever, can be prohibitive.
Yeah.
Bawal kasi.
Yes.
So how many are we talking about on a year-to-year basis, for example? Like now, ngayon marami.
Now we have already 13 million, I think,
Oh my gosh.
affected by disaster.
disaster.
But as far as I know, we have this Yolanda alone. We have 3 million already.
Already.
More than 3
Who
million.
identifies? Who assesses?
It's the UN,
NDRRMC.
NDRRMC, and then the United Nations High Commissioner on Refugees.
May representative ang United Nations
Yes,
dito.
yes.
Through you.
No.
You work with them.
Yeah, we work with them, and they have the clusters.
Okay.
With the government, of course.
Yes,
They
yes,
set
yes.
down also with the government. And
Walang government agency on behalf of the UN. Wala. UN is
No, no.
independent.
UN is independent. And there's an interagency, the DRRMC. The NDRMC knows the data, of course.
Of course,
And
of course.
DSWD, we got that data from DSWD also. So we reached already 3 point something million for this Yolanda alone.
Yolanda. Yung Bohol pa.
In Bohol pa, you have another one. And in Zamboanga,
Oh, malaking sa Zamboanga.
Yes.
Yung kasi forced evacuation kasi
that was
nagkagera.
really a human made.
Why the need to give those internally displaced? There is no external displacement because
No.
Pilipinas lang eh. Okay.
Yeah.
Those internally displaced, why are we giving them rights, basically? To protect them.
Yes.
One.
Why?
So hindi sila parang beggars.
Yes.
So may responsibility ang government.
Yes.
Oh, please explain that part.
You know why? During the last 2000, when we first engaged ourselves in the internal displacement, we really realized that once the people are displaced, they are just like, what they feel is we're just like chicken. We wait when the...
You lose all humanity,
yeah,
dignity.
when the food comes and we'll just...
Walang dignity.
As
Yeah.
if we cannot ask for our needs. And then, the problem there also, that is how the government also sees them.
Beggars
So,
kayo.
yeah. So that's why when the DSWD gives some humanitarian assistance, they can easily shout at them.
Correct, correct.
And sometimes they are even used. There are incidences that sex for relief.
Nako, may ganun pa.
Yes,
So,
there are.
all these people, what you are fighting for, and your your NGO group, you're fighting for to give rights to these people who have not caused their displacement.
Yes.
You're giving them rights as a Filipino citizen.
Yes.
That's what you're after.
Yeah, because the primary responsibility lies in the government still, because they are still within the jurisdiction of the government.
Does
And then
government...
Because in the first place, they never lost their rights as
Yeah,
human beings,
human
right?
beings.
So,
Punersa
what
natin
we
eh.
need to do is to recognize the rights in a situation where they have been displaced. I was in
Where they have a
Zamboanga.
special need already.
Yeah.
May special need
Yes,
na.
because
I
it
was
already
ano.
augment. If they are poor, when they are displaced, they are becoming very poor.
So,
Yes.
poor
All
ka
the
na,
more. Ma-displace ka pa,
ma-display.
all the more.
So, walang-wala ka na.
Walang-wala.
Nawala ng dignidad mo.
Correct.
So, we are trying to give back dignity to these people
Yeah.
who are
Yes.
been made
That is the right
unfortunate.
term. Yes.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
That's the purpose
That's
of
the
this
purpose
bill.
of that bill.
Okay. Now that we know what are internally displaced, we've identified where we can find them, especially in the last three
mahal so,
sunod-sunod,
yeah,
no?
yeah,
Tama. Does the government recognize that there are people internally displaced? Is that a right question to
Yes.
answer?
I- that's a...
Alam naman ng
Yes,
gobyerno.
yes.
Yes.
Alam ng mga congressman natin, presidente,
Well,
kabinete.
maybe not all congressmen know that there are DPs and they have
They
the
need to
rights.
study. You know?
Yeah.
I guess kung congressman ka
They're
na mayaman na
supposed.
syudad, baliwala. Unless magka-earthquake sa Maynila.
Correct.
Parang gano'n. No? Then you'll know you have to give rights to these people.
Yeah.
So government knows. And who are the common, it says here, who are the most common victims? The poor.
Yes. The people in the Hinter Islands,
Okay.
where there is rebellions. The most problematic of all the IDPs are the IDPs due to armed conflict. Because there are so many issues surrounding that, especially the political issues. Because if it is due to armed conflict, if you are in that place and then before last 5 years or 10 years or so, the government will block the humanitarian assistance.
Kasi they want to starve the area
Yes.
para palabasin yung
And then they
kalaban
will
nila.
say, no, we cannot give them because there are families of the MILF or the families of the MPs.
These are assumed.
Yeah, and then they will give it to the rebels.
Ayun.
So that's the problem.
Whether it's true or not.
Yes. Then I'll tell them, yes, maybe their family, their father is MILF or NPA, but the children and the mother are not. And you have to feed them.
Tama nga naman. Ano?
Because that is their right.
Tama yan.
You're
tama
running
yan,
after the rebels, but you are supposed to protect the rights of the family.
Just because they are the parents or
Yes.
the advocates are there within the community, it
Correct.
doesn't mean the whole community.
True.
So kung kailangan natin isimot natin pag kailangan. Pwede ba oligarkiya? when oligarchs like to say, okay, akin itong lugar nito, Tarlac, ako ang oligarchy dito, ako ang dynasty. No, for example,
Yes.
ayoko mga tao ni Marcos dito, paalisin ko yan. Internally displaced yan.
Ay, of course. That is
So mga Tacloban, internally
that is
displaced.
harassment.
And by,
Harassment,
and
Tacloban.
by political association only, which is really bad, di ba?
Pero pwede rin.
I mean, it happens.
It happens.
It happens.
It happens. It doesn't mean,
That is
doesn't
human,
mean pwede.
That's human rights violations.
That's, yeah.
Yeah.
So we've talked about the different types of display. Alam mo, ladies and gentlemen, you should try to get a book here. Let me show it to you. Maybe we can ask the camera to go. Saan ba pwede kunin to para to help understand? We'll have a picture on it. I-freeze lang natin yan. Okay, here we go. This book tells you everything we are talking about, but in extreme detail. You'll notice the picture. Kaawa-awa naman. Just because they're poor, downtrodden, and made miserable, it does not mean we step on them.
True.
These are human beings, and they are Filipinos.
Yeah.
They should be accorded the right of dignity, food, shelter, as enshrined in our Constitution.
That is the problem, Harry, always. Because, especially if it's already massive, we are already counting them as if they are statistics.
We just did that
Yeah.
with the dead.
The
We just
people-
did it in Yolanda.
we just-
Thanks,
no,
government.
no.
Yeah.
A lot of 200,000, only 5,000 dead. But if...
Bagay, yun ang ayaw ni Noy. Di ba
Yeah.
sinabi niya, gusto niya alamin natin talagang patay, wag yung
Yes,
basta-basta.
oo. And then we have 3 million displaced. We just imagine them in numbers. But if you imagine them to have some eyes, face,
A human
and they
being.
are one of your relatives, how it feels.
Ah.
So you have to put human faces on this statistic to realize that they are human beings to be accorded with rights.
And what do you mean here by psychosocial impacts? Anong ibig sabihin psychosocial impacts? Hindi nila kaya yung bagong surroundings nila, the temporary shelter being given to them, the tent city, for example, yung ba psychosomatic? Psychosocial.
The psychosocial impact is due to the fact that they experience a traumatic experience.
Mabigat.
War, it is traumatic because it's not an ordinary situation.
Tama nga naman, nagbabarilan, you can hear bullets.
The storm surge, which really
Nakakatakot
all
nga
up.
naman.
So it's really traumatic.
Which is why, mga iba talagang, ayoko na tumira dyan, baka
Yes.
mamaya natutulog ako, dumating na
Correct.
naman.
Ganon din po yung naramdaman nung nasa Marikina dati, di ba? Nung
Oh, correct,
binaha sila.
correct. Yes.
Umuulan lang. Sabi
biglang
sa akin ng
umakyat
mga
yung tubig.
teacher ng mga bata, after nangyari yun, umuulan lang na nininebis na
Kinakabahan
yung mga
na
bata.
sila.
So that's a trauma.
That's a psychosocial
that they have to
impact.
get over. Kasi kawawa naman sila. Dalas-dalos umulan sa Pilipinas. So yung mga
You know,
ganong klase.
we're already we're at the bottom of the hour. We're going to have to take a short break. Ladies, I'm so impressed that your hearts go out in your advocacy to actually look for those who are already damaged, ruined, stepped on, whose dignities have been wiped out forcibly. You've identified the word forcibly.
Forcibly, yes.
Hindi personal.
Yes.
Hindi yung mayaman ako,
Voluntary.
takbo ako na Switzerland, ayoko na sa Pilipinas, marami naman akong pera. Walang ganunan. Ito, you are giving rights back. You're giving the dignity back to these people, and you're trying to shake government and tell the government, hey, mga Pilipino rin to.
True.
Tao natin to.
True.
Alam mo, they're not supposed to have to tell you thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is supposed to be the right and your duty to be responsible for them.
That's
okay.
the perfect.
We're going to take a short break. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you understand the social responsibility being discussed, because the reason this is being thrown up to you, it's not just to generate critical thought, but to help you understand what it is this non-government organization is trying to do. Ano kaya ikaw ang naging displaced? We'll be right back. Let's do it.